To make her son successful, she joined a secret cult. She gave up everything for his tomorrow. But when the price was her only son, she chose war over worship. This time, a mother leads the hunt to protect what she once offered. Some sacrifices are louder in silence. In the heart of Oil City, Delta State, lived a widow named Mama Ade. She had only one son, Ade, and he was her world. From the moment he was born, she carried the weight of raising him alone, hustling day and night just to give him a better life. She paid his school fees, fed him, clothed him, and stood by him through every hardship. When Ade finally graduated, hope filled their tiny home. But that hope quickly turned to frustration. No jobs, no callbacks, just silence. Refusing to sit at home doing nothing, Ade began following his mother to the market each day. At her small wooden stall where she sold pepper and tomatoes, he'd help arrange the produce, lift baskets, and smile through the heat. Mama Ade appreciated his efforts, but the disappointment was eating her up inside. "Keep submitting your CVs," she would say, her voice weary but trying to stay strong. "One day someone will call." But days turned to months, and hope started to feel like a cruel joke. Then one day, a call finally came, a job offer. Ade dressed neatly, heart pounding with excitement, but on his way, it began to rain. Not wanting to be late, he ignored the storm and kept running, arriving soaked. The wet soles of his shoes left footprints on the office floor. As fate would have it, the manager walked in right behind him. "Who made this mess?" the man barked. "The new guy," the receptionist said. Ade was fired on his very first day. Another time, just when he thought things might be turning around, a car splashed muddy water all over him just minutes before his interview. He rushed in, explained everything, but still, he was let go before he even had the chance to start. One misfortune after another, it was as if the world had turned against him. Exhausted and broken, Ade stopped chasing jobs. He chose instead to return to the one place he knew he was needed beside his mother at her stall. Life dragged on day after day. What made it even harder was the neighbor at the market, loud, proud, and always bragging about her successful son. "He just sent more money again," she would say, loudly enough for Mama Ade to hear. "He even filled up my shop this morning." The words stung, each one a reminder of what Mama Ade didn't have. But she swallowed her pain and smiled. Ade would always try to comfort her. "Mom, don't worry. Everything will be fine, okay? Once I get a good job, I'll take care of you. I'll fly you abroad for vacation. Just hold on a little longer." Mama Ade would nod, eyes wet with quiet hope. "My son," she whispered once as tears rolled down her cheeks. "I can't wait for that day. We've suffered enough. I want nothing but the best for you. I know God will do it." Then came the turning point. One bright afternoon, Mama Ade had stepped out briefly, leaving Ade to manage the stall. Their rent was long overdue, and there was no money left. The market officials arrived without warning. Cold and unbothered, they began throwing pepper and tomatoes onto the dirt. "Please," Ade begged, "just give us a little more time, please." But they wouldn't listen. One man scoffed and spat cruel words at him. "Your mates are in the city making money. You're here wasting away with your mother. A graduate? Helping your mother sell pepper? What's the point of the education you brag about?" Then he said it. "You're nothing but trash." The words hit Ade like a blow to the chest. He stood frozen, humiliated. What he didn't know was that Mama Ade had returned and was standing in a corner, watching everything. She saw it all. She heard it all. Without saying a word, she stepped forward, pulled out money she had borrowed that morning just in case, and paid the rent. Ade barely spoke for the rest of the day. The shame had carved itself deep into his spirit. When evening came, mother and son packed up and walked home together, quietly. That night, Mama Ade couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. Then her eyes filled with tears, tears that rolled down slowly, as if pulled by years of silent pain. "Enough," she whispered to herself. "This must change. I've suffered too much. I've sacrificed everything for my son. And I'll do anything to finish what I started. My son must succeed in this life. 3 days later, Mama Aid sat Aid down. Her tone was calm, but determined. Ade, she said gently, I've decided to travel. I want to go and see your uncle, my brother-in-law, in the next city. I've managed to gather enough money for transport. Aid looked at her with doubt. But Mama, do you think he'll help us? We haven't heard from him since my father's burial. She placed her hand on his shoulder and smiled. Don't worry, my son. I'll speak to him. I'll also take your CV along, maybe he can help you get a good job. Ade nodded, then hugged his mother tightly. Thank you for loving me this much, Mama. They both laughed, the way only a mother and son can, deep, hopeful, and tired. The next morning, Mama Aid packed her small travel bag. Aid saw her off, watching her disappear down the road with hope in his heart. Days passed. Back at the market, Aid had taken over the stall. He sold with more passion than ever, shading peppers and tomatoes with care, arranging the baskets like his mother had taught him. To his surprise, customers began coming in larger numbers. By noon each day, he had already sold out and had to bring out more stock. It was the busiest he'd ever seen. His heart swelled with joy. I can't wait to tell Mama, he thought. Finally, Mama Ade returned home. She looked tired, but she was smiling, genuinely smiling. Ade, your uncle collected your CV, she said with excitement. He promised he'll find something for you. He was so warm and welcoming. Really, Mama? Aid's face lit up. He shared everything that had been happening at the market. The sales, the customers, the energy. Mama Ade was thrilled. Thank you, Mama. I'm so glad your journey wasn't a waste. Just as he was about to say more, his phone rang. He picked up and after a few seconds, dropped to his knees in disbelief. They wanted him to resume work the very next day. He had gotten the job. He rushed to his mother and hugged her tight. They both laughed, cried, and celebrated together. This calls for celebration, Mama Aid beamed. This time, I know nothing will go wrong. She placed her hand on his cheek. Our suffering is over, my son. Let me go prepare your favorite meal. She turned and walked into the kitchen. But once out of his sight, her face changed. The smile faded, replaced by a heavy silence. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she held her chest, whispering softly, This is worth it. Just the smile on his face. It's worth more than riches to me. 5 years had passed since Aid began working at the multinational corporation. He had done incredibly well for himself, rising through the ranks, opening his own company, and even winning major contracts. He often called Mama Ade to share his joys and struggles. But something always bothered him. Mama, I don't understand you, he would say. I'm working so hard just to take care of you, but you won't let me. Why? Mama Aid would chuckle softly on the phone. My son, don't worry about me. Your mother here is now a big woman. In fact, I've added another shop. I now have 2. Customers are always rushing to buy from me. Business is booming. Aid would sigh, half relieved but unconvinced. If you say so, Mama. But something inside him never fully believed her. That night, while the world slept, Mama Aid rose from her bed, her face expressionless. She disappeared into the shadows and vanished into another realm, clothed in a long black cloak. There, seated in a circle, were 4 other cloaked figures, members of an ancient cult. This was the 5th year of their dark covenant. Each year, one member was required to sacrifice their child. Mama Aid had already witnessed the others lose their own and feast on them. She had eaten their children alongside them. Now, it was her turn. The group turned to her. Mama Aid, your son. It's time. She was silent. Her fists clenched, her breathing heavy. No one touches my son, she whispered to herself later that night, beating her chest with pride. After everything I've done for him, after all we've suffered, no one will feast on him. Over the next few days, the market became cruel. Traders who once respected her began mocking her. All that struggle, and your son left you to suffer in this market? You should be enjoying his money now, but look at you. They laughed, but she didn't say a word. Then one morning, she rose early and packed a small bag. She boarded a vehicle to the city to her son's home. When Aid opened the door, he was stunned. Mama, you're here? This is the first time you've ever come to my house. Is everything okay?" She didn't answer immediately. She stepped in, her face tense. "Aid, listen to me." "What's going on?" he asked, concerned. "Come, let's eat first before we talk." She shook her head. "This is more important than food." She stepped closer to him, her voice firm but emotional. "My son, tonight please don't sleep. I beg you." "What? Why?" "Even if sleep tries to take you, fight it. Wash your face. Stay awake. Do this for me." "Mama, you're scaring me. What's happening?" "Listen very carefully. At midnight, 5 millipedes will crawl into your room. The first one, don't kill it. If you truly love me, don't touch the first one. But the second, third, fourth, and fifth, kill them all. Do you hear me?" Aid sat down frozen, his mouth agape. "Millipedes? Mama, what are you talking about? Please just trust me. I'll explain everything later." She turned to leave. "I have to go now. Just do what I said. I'll be back to tell you the rest." And with that, she disappeared into the quiet of the evening just as suddenly as she had arrived. That night, Aid fought sleep with all his strength, replaying his mother's haunting words in his mind. At the stroke of midnight, a cold breeze drifted into his room, and then he saw them. 5 millipedes slowly crawled out from the shadows, moving silently across his floor. He was frozen in disbelief. Then, snapping back to his mother's warning, he grabbed a hammer with trembling hands. His heart pounded as he crushed the second, third, fourth, and fifth. The first millipede, untouched, crawled slowly into the darkness. Ade sank to the floor, shaking, whispering to himself, "What did I just do?" At dawn, there was a knock at the door. It was Mama Ade. Her face was weary, her eyes hollow, but there was peace in her voice. "My son, please don't be angry. Everything I did it for you." Ade stared at her, stunned. "What do you mean, Mama?" She sat beside him and held his hands. "The day I told you I was visiting your uncle, I lied. I traveled to a hidden village and joined a secret cult. That was the price to clear the curses, to open your path. That's what brought the success you're enjoying today. But the price was cruel. Every year, each member must offer their own child as a feast." Aid's breath caught. "It was my turn this year, but I couldn't let them take you, Ada. I couldn't. I birthed you in pain, raised you in tears, watched you grow with hope. I won't offer you as a sacrifice. So I devised a way out. We crawled to the sacrifice at night, like millipedes. I led them to you as the first. That was me, my son." Aid staggered back. "Mama, I let you crawl away last night?" She nodded, tears falling. "I couldn't touch your wealth. That was the vow. But it didn't matter. Just seeing you smile, knowing you were safe, it was worth more than gold." Ade knelt before her, eyes red with emotion. "No, Mama, this ends now. My real wealth is having you alive, with me, and enjoying my wealth." He took his car keys and drove her straight to his pastor. There, she was prayed over and delivered. Aid sowed seeds of gratitude, donating to orphanages, building churches, opening schools. That night, he sat beside her, holding her hand like a child. "Mom, if there's another life, I'd still choose you as my mother." Smiling through tears. "Then promise me one thing." "Anything, Mama. No matter how high you fly, never forget who tied your wings with thread." They held each other in silence. Sometimes, the people who suffer silently are the ones who love the loudest. Dedicated to every mother who gave her all.